Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and I want to talk to you today about a disturbing report from the CDC that said that 1 in 3 Americans, that's almost 100 million Americans, are actually pre-diabetic as we speak. And what's worse is that 90% of those people don't know that they have it. And I've been finding that to be the case in my practice, where many folks are actually pre-diabetic and haven't been diagnosed or haven't been screened for that yet. The cause of this pre-diabetes is our diet. Definitely stress plays a role, but our diet of processed and refined foods and lots of sugars. I hope that most of us realize that, sugars and high fructose corn syrups are terrible for us. High fructose corn syrup is in just about everything. It's the #1 source of calories in our diet in America is high fructose corn syrup. Most of you know to avoid that by now, and a lot of companies are going back to now putting sugar in the diet, pure cane sugars back into the foods, which is good, but still, they're still sugars. The high fructose corn syrup actually goes directly to your liver, and it gets broken down into your liver and stored as fat, and never actually is delivered as energy. Very toxic substance, very hard to digest substance for the body and the liver to process. And you got to remember that a lot of our blood sugar handling ability comes from our liver, not just our pancreas. It's about 50-50. We always think of the pancreas totally responsible for blood sugar, but the liver is involved in that process as well. So there's a lot of hidden sugars. A lot of us think, well, I eat really healthy. I have, fresh squeezed vegetable juice and fruit juice every morning. Well, when you squeeze an apple and beets and carrots, and you have apple, beets, and carrot juice, apples are loaded with sugar, beets are loaded with sugar, and carrots are loaded with sugar. You just squeeze out all the sugar into that juice, and you're drinking a sugary drink, and that's your breakfast. Boom! The sugar goes right up into your brain and into your bloodstream. You have a chai tea, and you think you're having, it's a chai tea. Well, those are incredibly sweet. Yogurts, 27 grams of sugar in most yogurts are extremely loaded. Natural chips, whole wheat bread. The sugar in whole wheat bread is very high glycemic index. It gets into the blood very quickly, unless you're eating a bread that is a sprouted bread, one that's refrigerated, that needs to stay in the refrigerator, because bread in the old days didn't sit on your shelf for a month in a plastic bag and it would just last. Bread would go bad in a couple of days. Milk would go bad in a couple of days. Now we have stuff that just lasts forever on our shelves, and we just let it just sit there. These are toxic foods, and they don't digest well, and many of them are processed as quick moving sugars into your bloodstream. People think, well, I'll just have dried fruit. I have many patients who have bags of dried mangoes, and they eat a bag a day. They love them and think they're eating something healthy. It's considered a healthy snack. The energy bars, healthy snacks, they're loaded with date sugars and molasses and honey, all of them very quickly driven into the bloodstream. A mango, for example, a regular mango has about 13 grams of sugar in it. If you take that same amount of weight of mango in dried fruit, about 100 grams of each, you have 76 grams of sugar. So the regular mango, 13 grams of sugar. The same amount of mango as a dried mango, 76 grams. 13 grams to 76 grams. That's what happens when you concentrate stuff. Orange juice, 27 grams of sugar per cup. And kids eat big, huge glasses of this stuff. So what happens in our diet is we just explode the sugar into the bloodstream. Our bloodstreams don't know what to do with it. We weren't designed, to handle these injections of sugar into the blood. And eventually the cells, the muscles become resistant. They can't tolerate, they can't eat any more sugar. So they don't let the sugar in. So the blood has to do something else with it. And what it does is it takes the sugar and converts it into triglycerides or belly fat. It also will convert it into cholesterol, which then damages your arteries. It'll also, and here's the worst thing, that extra sugar in your blood will engage in a process called glycation, where it sticks to proteins. And those proteins then run through your bloodstream, and they stick and irritate and aggravate your arteries and create arterial damage and risk for cardiovascular disease. And the two major proteins that are involved in this process are elastin and collagen. Now, those are the ones you want for good, clean, healthy, non-wrinkled skin. Everybody wants that. And so it's really important. Eat a lot of sugar in your diet, you're going to get wrinkles. That's due to the process of glycation. It's a major cause of damage of your inner skin as well. You have skin lining your arteries, it gets damaged. You have skin lining your intestinal tract, it gets damaged. You have skin lining your respiratory tract, it gets damaged by this process of glycation. So if you're eating, fruit juices and vitamin water, for example, 27 grams of sugar, a glass of Coke only has a little bit more sugar than that, not that much more. So you think a vitamin water is a healthy alternative. Please start looking at these labels. There's just tons of sugar in so many things, and they're hidden, and you don't realize that they're there. And the blood sugar just keeps creeping up and creeping up and creeping up, and to the point where we have now an epidemic of prediabetes, 100 million Americans. It's unacceptable. We need to start realizing that we were not designed to have all these concentrated sugars in our diet, and these, of course, that along with the processed oils, the fats that we eat are oftentimes toxic. Anything deep fried, and even the vegetable oils like canola oil. You go to the health food store, you get an organic cracker, it says organic this, organic that, everything is good, but it has canola oil that's been cooked. It's turned rancid. It's a toxic substance. So please take a look at your diet, start reading the labels, and get the sugar out of your diet, and understand the risks of a high sugar content diet, and particularly the hidden sugars, the ones that you're not aware of. A lot of the dried fruits and the dried berries and lots of fruits in your diet, they tend to spike those blood sugars, and a lot of times we don't even realize it. White rice by itself, potato chips by themselves, potatoes by themselves, corn products, corn chips with salsa, big time sugar injection to your bloodstream. Corn is the #1 source of sugar and sweeteners on the planet. And so whenever you're having soy that's been processed other than corn on the cob, you're actually eating something that is a very high glycemic food that's going to be driven into the bloodstream and create possible increased levels of blood sugar, increased level of insulin and the associated damage to your heart, to your arteries, increased weight gain, and also high cholesterol, among other things. Please check out the article I write and introduce you to this whole concept of pre-diabetes. And thank you for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard.